Spring break is over for the Seton Catholic men's volleyball team. John Engelbert's squad is back on the court as they welcome in Tempe Prep to John J. McMahon Gym. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Joe Pequeno. So glad you could join us on the Seton Catholic Sports Network. With Coach Engelbert and the team with some time off, the team is ready to get back after it, taking on Tempe Prep. Of course, Seton enters this matchup with a record of 4-2. They've got skill on the outside, they got skill in the middle. They've got a great libero in Jonathan Johnson-Rieger, and they got some big expectations for this second half. So for this team, they want to keep it all in line. They want the effort and energy to be at its peak as they head toward the second half of the season, and of course, heading toward the playoffs. Tonight, Coach Engelbert is going to be working in some different lineups to try to test his new faces on the roster, and of course, that starting unit to work them in on the back end so they know how to finish games in a big way. Of course, we're going to have all the starting lineups, the opening tip, the serve, coming right here on the Seton Catholic Sports Network live from John J. McMahon Gym. And we are closing in between the afternoon tip between Seton Catholic and Tempe Prep. Of course, Seton coming in with a record of 4-2. Victories over GCHS, St. Mary's, Greenway, with losses to Deer Valley, Northwest Christian, and another victory to improve to 4-2. They're 1-0 in 4A East Sky play. Seton tonight will go to a different lineup. Number 21, Brady Pritchard. Number 7, Diego Kubisak, an outside hitter, a sophomore. Alejandro Burns, number 1, a setter. In your middles, number 10, Cameron Kuzmirzik. Number 11, Braden Zills. And your outside hitter, number 22, Armin Abdal. And, of course, your libero is Jonathan Johnson-Rieger. The head coach, one of my favorites, John Engelbert, in his 4th season, and really cares about this squad and cares about these young men, period. Now for Tempe Prep, they are coached by Andrew Gore in her 1st year, and she's from Newberry College. That's where she played collegiately. She's from the Midwest, from Chicago, Illinois. And we will take a moment for the national anthem and the school prayer, and then we will have the Tempe Prep lineup. And we're now talking about Tempe Prep, led by head coach Andrew Gore. Her 1st year, she played collegiately at Newberry College. She is from Chicago, Illinois. Starting lineups for Tempe Prep: number 12, Jacob Sark. Number 7, Nolan Bailey. Plays some outside middle hitter. Number 8, Doi Pham, middle hitter. OPP, a junior. Number 9, Alex Chung. Outside hitter, setter as well, sophomore. Number 14, Alejandro Lucero, OPP. Also a setter. Number 17, Joseph Cady, middle hitter, outside hitter, junior. Number 6, Connor Clark. And number 18, Miles Stallworth. Of course, Seton in the home white and red. Got the visiting Tempe Prep squad in the white and blue. And the lovely Jen Hutchison is here from the athletic department. And Jen is just that young lady who pulls it all together and does everything for all the athletes and makes sure that everything gets on point. And, of course, Terry Licht is here, assistant AD. And Terry is a tremendous individual. And you name it, he bleeds Seton colors. And we appreciate you dialing us up on the Seton Catholic Sports Network. It's been a while. So it's good to be right here. Of course, Paulo Hutchison's on the live stream, and yours truly, Joe Pequeno, is on the call. And we might see our favorite feathered friend, Freddie the Flamingo. At some point, he might make an appearance. And, of course, This one is about to get underway. Serve is over. And we had an early serve by Miles Stallworth, and the referees kind of let the gentleman know that he's got to wait for the officials to get things over. If you're looking at it on your screen, of course, the Knights on the left side, Seton on the right. And we are ready to get this going. Stallworth on the serve. That is saved at the net. And it's Tempe Prep getting the first point. Of course, Coach Engelbert trying to work in some new faces and going to give some young men some opportunities. Abdul on that back end, Alejandro, and that is knocked. Stallworth on that back end, worked by Sark. Alejandro. Abdul is blocked at the net, and that's a great point by Jacob Sark. And it's quickly 2-0. Tempe Prep. Stallworth on the serve. And that time, that goes long. So it's a 2-1 Knights lead with Seton going on serve. Seton ready to get after it after the victory over Eastmark on the 16th. And Tempe Prep picks up another point. Abdul knocks that over. And that is blocked to the net by Tempe Prep. Worked on that back end. Alejandro. And Abdul fires up a winner. And it goes to 3-2. 3-2. And a correction on my part. Volleyball team did not knock off Eastmark. Looking at their schedule, the game I was referring to was a victory over Paradise Honors right before the break. And they did that in 4 sets. So now the bump on that back end and the big knock across, and Tempe Prep Knights showing they can bring a game. Good work by Diego Kubisak trying to knock things over. Alejandro setting it up. Kubisak, Diego, that sophomore. And Seton wins that point. (3-3). And Armin Abdul ready to do his damage from the service line. Knocks it across. Good work by Connor Clark. Keeps it alive for the Knights. Alejandro. And that was a middle hit. And that was a blistering assault by Braden Zills. And Seton takes his first lead of the first set, 4-3. Some members of the girls softball team are on hand. I see Sierra Daniel across the way. Abdul knocked up by Connor Clark. And that one goes long. So Armin on a nice little service run. And will continue to do things from the service line as he looks to continue this great run for the Sentinels. Bumped up, Alejandro, Kubisak. And Kubisak hits that one long and wide. Clark on the serve. Bumped that back end, Alejandro. Kubisak blocked, Alejandro keeps it alive. Good bump. Little fight at the net. And that battle goes in favor of Tempe Prep. Looked like that was a violation. Stepped over the midline. So we are knotted at 5. On the serve for the Knights, Connor Clark, Kubisak, Alejandro Burns, and a big-time blast and kept alive for a split second, and Jalen Peters bringing some thunder and lightning. So some substitutions coming in. Joey Steinkamp, as well as Cameron Kuzmirzik. Steinkamp, along the lines of a family of Elizabeth and Tommy Boy. And the Knights win the little bump across to knot this one at 6. So this is a Knights team that's still building in its second year. Coach Angela Gore, you can see her on your screen applauding her team, really trying to build this program, and young lady who brings the energy and effort, and Jalen Peters bringing the energy and effort there. And we got the young man pounding the cushion to my right. That's Nick Parada, as well as Patrick Mendoza, letting the assaults on the cushions go loud and proud. Jalen Peters steps out, checking in to serve is Michael Bastian, and Bastian is a excellent server, so he's going to do his thing. Knocks it across. Clark couldn't dig it out, so it's an 8-6 Seton lead. Sentinels have a very, very busy week. Another home matchup on Thursday, a Friday matchup as well. Alejandro in that middle, and Kubisak fires it up. Knights keep it alive. Stallworth bumps it over. Bastian and Alejandro with the point. And a 9-6 Seton advantage. And once again, the lovely Jen Hutchison doing me a favor, making sure I've got Wi-Fi, because without Wi-Fi, I'm disconnected from reality. So Jen, as usual, coming through. Bastian with a great serve. Stallworth. Knights bump it over. Good work by Steinkamp. Alejandro right there, and that's a miss hit right there, and going back the other way. Knock across. Good work by Abdal. And how about Kubisak bringing the thunder from the outside? And once again, Patrick Mendoza just abusing the cushions. And Patrick Mendoza, by the way, is one fantastic athlete, a great football player, open field, always doing some great things with the football in his hands. And Kubisak serving up the ace. 11-7. Sentinels with the home edge. We appreciate you dialing us up on the Seton Catholic Sports Network. Paulo Hutchison on the live stream. Kubisak on the serve. And that's trying to be saved on the back end by the Knights as Clark tries to knock it over and could not. So give Kubisak, Diego, the outside hitter, long and lanky. He's got some hops. And he's continuing a nice service run, and Seton now with a 12-7 lead. Kubisak and gives that one right back. And if there's one area of the Seton game they have to improve on, and Coach Engelbert will be the first to tell you, is that service game. Squad cannot give points back that quickly. They have to be able to capitalize when they've got the opportunity, and the Knights return the favor by giving it right back. Great night for volleyball here at Seton Catholic. A good group of family members are here. Checking out was Joey Steinkamp, part of that great Steinkamp athletic family here at Seton. Knights chasing it down and trying to make things happen. A good effort on the back end by Jacob Sark. Could not keep it alive. So a 14-8 Seton advantage, and there's a timeout on the floor, and we appreciate you and all the good people out in Sentinels Nation. Of course, a lot of sports in full force for the Sentinels, the softball team, the baseball team, the men's volleyball team, all in action. Baseball team's off to a great start. So is the softball team, holding their own. Charles Heil doing wonders, pitching great for the baseball team. And of course, Sierra Daniel leading that softball team as well. And Coach Engelbert and his team, fresh off the spring break, ready to get back at it and doing a great job. So when we look at their schedule, Sentinels will host Phoenix Christian on Thursday, and then Friday they go to Arizona College Prep. And then they won't play until April 4th at the Odyssey Institute in Buckeye. So served by Chris Mirzik. And a diving attempt by Bastion could not keep it alive. Some substitutions. Brady Pritchard checking in, number 21. Like we talked about, Coach Engelbert working some new faces in. 14-9, Alejandro knocked across in the middle by Kubisak. That's bumped across and a net violation against the Knights. Score is now 15-9. And Alejandro Burns with an opportunity. Burns gives it right back. So the Knights, Brady Pritchard with a good dig. Armin blocked at the net. Armin just knocks it over. Knock across by Joseph Cady. Alejandro, and a little bit of a miscommunication. Looked like Alejandro was looking for Braden Zills, and Jalen Peters gave it a quality attempt. Just could not knock it over. Nolan Bailey, Armin digs it out. And this time, Jalen Peters mishits and hits that one to Apache Junction. So a 15-12 Seton lead. On the serve is Nolan Bailey. Bumped that backhand by Pritchard. Armin shoots it across. Seton keeping it alive, and this time, Jalen Peters providing the thunder. And I've got no cushion hitting whatsoever. 16-11. Armin Abdal getting ready to do his thing. Abdal fires it across. Bumped that back end by Cady. So give Abdal credit for the ace. 17-12 and Seton advantage. Abdal with now 12 aces on the year. Worked in that back end by the Knights. Knocked over by Joseph Cady. Alejandro keeping it alive. Kubisak firing up a winner. Diego Kubisak makes it 18-11. On the serve, Armin Abdal continues his great service run. Armin shoots it. Clark digs it out. Alejandro. Brady Pritchard. How about Braden Zills in the middle? Brady, no look. Just some quality work by Braden Zills, and it's a 19-12 lead. Armin with the opportunity. Draw Seton closer. Good knock across. And he fires up the service ace. We kind of talked about Armin doing a great job at the service line. Had an ace just a short time ago and just adds to it. So now 13 aces on the year for the senior. 20-12, Seton with the lead. Knocks it. Working that back end by Nolan Bailey. Little bump across and a net violation by Jacob Sark, the senior middle hitter. 21-13. So they rule the point the other way. Alejandro Peters. Big time thunder from the outside. Now it's 21-13. Knocked across by Steinkamp. Good effort by the Knights. Could not knock it over. 22-13. Steinkamp kept alive by Joseph Cady. Little bump across. Alejandro gets it over. Worked in that back end by Armin. And that time a mishit by Diego. So the score is 21-14. And now it's going back the other way. So I was correct. 23-14. I know I wasn't crazy. I'm all on point. And there's no yawning in volleyball, Jen. Michael Bastian, ready to knock this one across. Connor Clark digs it out. Bump over by Joseph Cady. Arm in the back end, Alejandro, and that is blasted in the middle by number 10, Cameron Kuzmirzik, the senior. And the Sentinels set point as it's going back the other way. Coach Engelbert talking some things over with his team. Michael Bastian on the serve. Set point. And that is one extra hit. And the Sentinels win the first set 25-14. So they come out, do what's necessary, and get the first set victory. We'll take a short time out here on the Seton Catholic Sports Network. You're watching the Sentinels volleyball team going for their 5th win of the year, taking on Tempe Prep. Live from John J. McMahon Gym on the Seton Catholic Sports Network. And we welcome you back to John J. McMahon Gym, where Coach Engelbert and the squad are just wrapping up their huddle after a victorious first set, 25-14. And Coach Engelbert working in some new faces. Saw youngster number 21, Brady Pritchard, out there, as well as sophomore outside hitter Diego Kupisak, who really flashed his wealth. And as we look at this Seton lineup for this second set, some new faces. Brady Pritchard is out there, as well as Jalen Peters and Armin Abdal, Alejandro Burns. And here we go with Alejandro. Will start this second set. Good knock across and fires up an ace immediately. And on the other side, Coach Angela Gore, the head coach, in her first year, really doing her best to build this program and keep the youngsters focused. Good work on the back end by Seton. Burns. And that's a mishit on that left side by Armin. No question, the young man has got the hops that time. Just a little miscalculation on the outside hit. Knocked across. And that goes in favor of Seton, as it was out of bounds. A 2-1 Seton lead. Armin Abdal will now go to work. Had a great service run in the first game and gives that one right back. And as we mentioned, this is an area where Seton has got to be better. When their matches get bigger and better and they're playing better opponents, they've got to be able to serve better and take advantage of their serves. Alejandro, Jalen Peters with some thunder from the outside. And a 3-2 Seton advantage. And checking in, Joey Steinkamp, as well as Cameron Kuzmirzik. On the floor, about to do some damage, Joey Steinkamp. Steinkamp, of course, the brother of Elizabeth and Tommy Steinkamp, who was a star on the baseball and football team. Good work by Alejandro. Steinkamp. Jalen Peters blocked at the net. Alejandro, yet again, bumped over by Abdal. Good work by the Knights on the back end. And that's a mishit, and by Joseph Cady, and the Sentinels double up the Knights 4-2. Busy week for the Sentinels. They got Phoenix Christian on Thursday right here, and then Friday they're at Arizona College Prep. Alejandro in that middle. Good work in that back end by the Knights. Alejandro sets it up again, and Peters with the block at the net. And a 4-3 Seton lead. Good energy in the building. Right here at John J. McMahon Gym off Ray and Dobson Road. Alejandro Kuzmirzik. Knights setting up their offense. Joseph Cady in that middle comes up at the point. And head coach Angela Gore showing her enthusiasm for her young team. Still learning how to play the game and really just trying to build the program. And Cameron in the middle, showing some thunder. And Mendoza on that bench, pounding the pads. And that's become a staple of the volleyball team. Big points, that bench, they'll pound the pads. Showing their support. Michael Bastian on the serve. Here come the Knights. Cady in the middle. And Alejandro trying to keep it alive. Could not, and we're knotted at 5. Tempe Prep, located off 1251 East Southern Avenue, Tempe. of course, Seton right here off Ray and Dobson Road. Knocked across by Jacob Sark. Kept alive by Armin on that back end. Little battle, and Alejandro wins it there. Knights get it back over. And a net violation goes against the Knights. 6-5 Seton lead. Knights digging it out in the back end, knocked across. And that goes out of bounds. 7-5 Seton lead. That was Cole Erwiller on the serve. So now it's a 7-6 Seton advantage. Erwiller knocks it across and shows the touch. 8-6 Seton lead. Now going to serve is Cameron Krasmierzik. 2 service aces on the year. Knocks it across. Here come the Knights. Little bump over, and that one's going to be out of bounds on the far left. Cameron, such a force in that middle. Connor Clark digs it up. Kept alive by the Knights. Alejandro and Armin blisters a blast from the left side. And a 10-6 Seton lead. Nick Parada trying to handle all the fun that's going on in that Seton bench. And Armin at the net, and that's some good touch by Armin. Didn't touch the net whatsoever. If he would have, it would have been a violation, and knocks it across for the winner. Cameron continues his nice service run. Knights trying to keep it alive. Knocked over. Cameron's there. Bastion in that middle. That was Joseph Cady. Alejandro, Bastion blasted across, and Connor Clark tries to keep it alive. Bumped back over by Joseph Cady. And got a net violation right there against Joseph Cady. And a 12-6 Seton lead. So a good exchange by these two teams. This Seton team, of course, well experienced. And Cameron fires up the ace. Cameron with 2 service aces coming in. Now has a third, and the Tempe Prep team, led by head coach Angela Gore, in her first year, calls a timeout. So yeah, no question, this is a very busy week for the volleyball team. And as we look at the softball team as well, they're non-stop. They have a game at Saguaro, and that's coming up on Friday, right here at Seton Catholic at 3:45. will try to give you an update on the baseball team as well as I look through my Seton Catholic schedules. And baseball team has Saguaro at home on Friday. And look, if there's ever a game you want to go to, that Saguaro game is always a good one because that's a heated rivalry. Saguaro comes in with that Scottsdale swagger, and doesn't matter if they're good or bad, they kind of bring some people, they bring some electricity, and Cameron bringing his A game at the service line. Now a 14-6 Seton lead. That's worked by Cody Clark. Good battle at the net, and that is one up front. Alejandro Burns in on the fun, getting some things done. A 15-6 Seton lead. Clark in that back end. Knights, Stallworth, and Stallworth. A miss hit by the young man who's tall, lean, no question, very athletic. Just probably needs just a little more time on the court to really understand what it takes. Knocked over the back end. Bastion is there. Alejandro. And high and hard, and that point is one in the middle. And Patrick Mendoza leads the assault. And now a 17-6 Seton lead. Cameron continues to do his thing on the service. Knocked across by Nolan Bailey. Bailey is there, kept alive. Alejandro Burns. And that's a miss hit right there, and it goes back in the way of the Knights. Checking in to serve for the Knights is Joseph Cady. This Knights team has only played 2 matches this season. Alejandro with the perfect placement, and it goes to 18-7. Seton looking for its 5th win of the season to improve to 5-2. Alejandro has kept alive. 19-7. And Seton drawing closer to a second set victory. Appreciate all the good people that dial us up on the Seton Catholic Sports Network. Worked in the back end by Doy Pham. In that middle, going up like a champ. Number 15, skying and delivering. And we got another timeout on the floor. Sentinels in a good position after winning the first set 25-14 and leading this second set 20-7. And they are on a great service run right now. They've won 6 of the last 7 points. So they are 5 points away from a second set victory. And Coach Angela Gore talking her team, keeping them united. Squad has only played 2 matches. So that's a team that's still learning how to play together and win. Squad with a loss to Phoenix Christian in 3 sets, as well as Eastmark in 3 sets. Overall, they're 2-0. They're part of the 4A Central. Making the trip here to Seton's. They're just right down the road off Southern Avenue. Close proximity as Alejandro fires up the ace, and Alejandro now with 9 aces on the year. Alejandro Burns is really a star setter. Has a shot at all region honors. And that's a Fault call against the Sentinels. 21-8. John Engelbert talking to his team, and Stallworth gives it right back. 22-8. Sentinels closing in to a second set victory. And Armin looking to lead the charge. This for the Sentinels is a match, and that's a Brady Pritchard miss hit. This is a match, no question. Seton knows they should win. And so John Engelbert, the head coach, is working on different lineups, different formations, working on some things, giving some youngsters some opportunities, and then we're going to see the starting unit in to close this one out. Worked on that back end by Pritchard. Jalen Peters with a big time boom. 23-8. And the big pound from the outside. Joey Steinkamp checking in. Pritchard checking out. Steinkamp. Knocked over. And that point goes in favor of the Knights. So the Knights trailing 23-10. Connor Clark, Alejandro Burns, and Jalen Peters hits that one long. So the Knights with a little life. Steinkamp on that outside. And that goes long on the outside. Colaroulier on the miss hit. 23-12. Connor Clark back end. And how about that nice little touch in the middle? Quality work, making it a little easy. Cameron Krizmirzik. 24-12. Bastion and Clark try to save that back end. Knights with an opportunity, and that goes long. And the Sentinels win the second set, 25-12. They've taken the first two sets. Seton in a good place. We'll take a short timeout. Third set coming up. You're watching the Sentinels and the Tempe Prep Knights live from John J. McMahon Gym on the Seton Catholic Sports Network. And we welcome you back to John J. McMahon Gym, getting ready for the third set. Alejandro Lucero, Nick Parada, Alejandro Burns bumped that middle. And Braden Zills makes it look easy for a quick 1-0 lead. Burns shoots it across. 2-0. So I'm a big fan of Alejandro Burns. Great setter. Really puts Seton in great positions. Knocks that across. Dug up by Nolan Bailey. Set up in that middle. And coming up, Braden Zills. The great wall of Zills in that middle. Call that the Great Wall of Braden. Alejandro shoots it. Worked that middle. Knocked across, and the miss hit by Jacob Sark. 4-0. Burns in that middle. Knocked across. Jonathan Johnson Rieger in. And big time thunder by David Nakla. Yeah. That's what we do. We pound the cushions. 5-0. Terry Licht, assistant athletic director to my left, loves that too. And that's what I love about these Seton kids. They're bringing some fun and energy to that bench. Yeah. Got a little smirk from head coach John Engelbert after that. And that goes out of bounds. 6-0. Seton advantage. Alejandro doing some work in that middle. Also doing some work in that line. At service line, that is. Knocked across. Johnson Rieger, Alejandro. And that time it's a miss hit by Patrick Mendoza. So the Knights get on the scoreboard. They have to, of course, take the next 3 sets, or they're going to lose this one to fall to 0-3. On the serve, number 9, Alex Chung. Chung, good serve. And that is a service ace on the back end. And Jonathan Johnson Rieger says, that's on me. I know it's my bad. Thought I was going out. It's all good. Parada. That's blasted in the middle. Braden Zills. So now Patrick Mendoza can check out. Armin Abdal going to the service line. Abdal, Parada, Nakla, Burns, Johnson Rieger, and Zills on the floor. Armin firing up that serve. Kept alive. Johnson Rieger. Parada a little bump over. Cody Clark digging it out. Violation. And in fairness, not Cody Clark for the Knights. That's Connor Clark. Apologize to any Knights fans out there. Armin Abdal shoots it across. Clark dug it out in that middle. A little block by Zills. Nakla gets it over. Abdal on that back end. And Parada blasting it. Worked on that back end by Joseph Cady. Little bump across. Parada and Nakla high and hard. And we're going to see if we're going to get this camera set up so we can actually see these young guys pound the cushions. I'm going to just set it up over there. So we're going to reposition one of these cameras. So after a good Seton point, you can see these young guys pound the cushions. So now Mendoza, the pressure's on you, champ. And he acknowledges me. And let's see if we get it. Oh, we got the service ace, so now 10-2. So Abdal going to work. Bumped across. And another service ace for Armin Abdal. On a nice service run. Got some members of the softball team, some members of the student body here. We got parents taking pictures. Abdal and cannot be dug out by Connor Clark. And I'm waiting for Patrick Mendoza to hit a cushion because we've got the camera focused on him. We need a kill. Okay. Patrick just confirmed for me that it's on a kill that we do this, so I'm waiting for it. So Patrick Mendoza is going to be front and center on a pad when we get a kill. So an opportunity now as that, not yet. So Armin just killing it on the service line. And as soon as we, there we go, get a nice look at the bench right there. So you know it's coming. And Armin gives it right back. Nothing to worry about. Seton with a 13-3 lead. Of course, after this match, we'll talk to Coach Engelbert and a couple of players as well. Might talk to one of my favorites, Patrick Mendoza. Armin Abdal, also bring Armin in as well. Johnson Rieger. Parada. Big time thunder in that middle. There you go. It's a shot that you've been wanting to see on the live stream. Mendoza and the bench bringing the adrenaline. There you go. See, I love the bench cam. The bench cam is the great cam. We got the bench cam going. Johnson Rieger on the serve with a 14-3. Sentinels lead. Shoots it across. Little bump in the middle. Good work by Alejandro. Parada fires up the big time heat on that outside. 15-3. Braden Zills instructed to go to the other side of the bench. So we got a timeout on the floor. Seton with a 15-3 advantage. They won the first set. 25-14. Second set, 25-12. And now third set, 15-3. So that Knights coming out of that huddle, showing their intensity, ready to bring it and prolong this third set and maybe push it to a fourth. And you got to respect that. Bringing that energy, showing that moxie, that never say die attitude. And that's what it takes when you're building a program. And give a lot of credit to head coach Angela Gore in her first year. Played collegiately at Newberry College. And she understands there's going to be some uphill battles along the way, but she's working hard to get these young men going in the right direction. And you can tell they're bringing the energy and effort. So Johnson Rieger on the serve, 15-3. Sentinels with the lead. Jonathan, near ace, worked that middle, and give props as Cameron skies and delivers. 16-3. And once again, we're waiting for the bench cam and a spike from the outside. Johnson Rieger shoots it. Almost the near ace. Worked in that middle. Blocked at the net. Alejandro. Johnson Rieger. David Nakla. And David Nakla is rarely going to lose a spike when he's got the opportunity. He's just a destructive force of volleyball talent on that outside. 17-3, Johnson Rieger on the serve. Get a bump across in the middle. And Cameron, good work in that middle. Another point Seton's way, 18-3. So Johnson Rigger on a nice service run as Seton really in the driver's seat with this one. Battle in the middle. And cool, calm Cameron. And I've just got his nickname, Cool, Calm Cameron. How about that for a little oration for you? 19-3. Sentinels feeling good on the verge of improving to 5-2. And as we talked about, they have a very, very busy week. They have Phoenix Christian on Thursday. That first serves at 5:30, and then they head to Arizona College Prep on Friday. And on the baseball side, baseball team in action on Friday, hosting Saguaro. And that's always an interesting matchup. Saguaro brings that moxie, and it's always a little bit of a heated affair as these two rivals go at it. And the thing about Seton now, when you look at their division, as far as volleyball is concerned, you look at the 4A East Sky standings, Saguaro is no longer a rival of Seton. St. Mary's, Desert Sunrise, Marcos Deniza, Mesquite, and Odyssey Institute knocked across, and that is out of bounds. 20-3. So you look at the conference standings, Seton 4-2 overall, first in the 4A East Sky, 1-0. St. Mary's 0-1, 3-2. Desert Sunrise is yet to play a match. Marcos Deniza 6-3. They've yet to play league play. David Nakla firing up the winner, 21-3. Mesquite hasn't played a league match yet. They're 5-0. And Odyssey Institute 1-6. Johnson Rigger on the serve. Shoots it across. Dug out by the Knights, but shot long. And the Sentinels 3 points away from a 3-set victory. Johnson Rigger. And Nick Parada on the rare miss hit as his parents in the middle of the crowd, and they laughed that one off. But no question, in a bigger and better match, Nick will have the focus needed. Jacob Sark, and Jacob Sark hits that one to Awatuki. So it's 23-4. 2 points away. Michael Bastian with the opportunity. Keep it right here afterwards on the Seton Catholic Sports Network. We'll talk to a couple players, get their thoughts on the match. Bastian shoots it across. Knights trying to keep this one alive. Alejandro in that middle, bumped across. And Nick Parada, big time thunder. 24-4 after the Parada blast. And it's set at match point. No question, that made Mom and Dad proud as Michael Bastian looks to end this one. Bastian fires that one long. So it's still set at match point as Nolan Bailey going to serve. Abdal right there. Alejandro. Parada. And Parada gets it done, and that is going to do it. Sentinels improved to 5-2 with the 25-14 first set victory, 25-12 second set victory, and winning the third set 25-5. Keep it right here. We'll get some live interviews going, and of course, we'll hear from Coach Jim. And we welcome you back to John J. McMahon Gym, where the Sentinels just dismantled Tempe Prep by the count of in a 3-set victory. I'm here with Armin Abdal, and Armin, look, a little bit of spring break action. The guy's got time away. He came back.
Yeah.
He used to say you got it done in 3 sets. Your thoughts on the victory?
Well, obviously it's a win, but coming back from spring break, we had a lot of guys gone out of vacations and stuff. So right now it's kind of like the first time when our team's like fully together. And right now we're just kind of working up where we, I guess, left off previous spring break and just trying to get better each ball.
Yeah, you talk about getting better, and this is a very busy week. I mean, this is one of 3 matches, and of course, with each match, the competition gets tougher along the way. And talk about maybe using this one to get some new faces in, maybe work on some things along the way, and of course, work on that service game that we know that the Seton team needs to work on a little bit, and just use this as maybe a catapult toward the matches later in the week.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it was. I mean, it was cool seeing the younger guys get an opportunity to play. I know us varsity guys are like the starters. We're trying to work hard, get a lead up, so these younger guys can get a start in. And these guys keep impressing us. I mean, the depth on this team has grown a lot, especially these younger guys just joining in. So it's been a lot of fun having everyone join together and kind of like create a family.
Yeah, it's really great to see some of these young faces really come out there and contribute. And of course, to see them, play at a high level and not much of a drop-off between the starting unit and the back end. And that being said, now 5-2, and talk about this team now in the second half of the season. Look, picking up the intensity, picking up the focus, because this team's got some big expectations, and you've got the skill set to do it here as well.
Yeah. We have 2 more games this week. I don't know who we're playing Thursday, Friday. I know we have against ACP. It'll be a good game, so just focusing on, I guess, those tougher games. And we're just getting better each practice. So we're looking forward to just keep extending, and just getting better throughout the stretch of the season.
There you go. That is Armin Abdal after the impressive 3-set victory over Tempe Prep. Keep it right here. We'll be locked and loaded from John J. McMahon Gym with more to come.
Yep. Thank you for having me.
And we welcome you back to John J. McMahon Gym. I am joined by one of the best athletes on this campus, and that is Patrick Mendoza. And Patrick, what I love about you, in the course of a volleyball match, you are bringing the energy, you're bringing the effort, and you started the new ritual. After the outside spike, you're pounding the pads on the chairs on the bench. Walk me through how this whole process started.
Well, we were at one of the home games. We had a big crowd. So before, when we would get a kill, I would just run and jump, slam the floor really hard. But the next day, I was kind of bruised up, kind of hurt. So I was like, maybe we should do something a little less physical. So then I started hitting the pads on the chairs.
Yeah. So I want to let you know, now we have the bench cam.
Oh.
I'm setting it up every match. So anytime there's an ace, I expect you to bring in your A game. And what's been kind of the reaction to the pads slamming on the chairs? Have you been getting some good feedback?
Oh, yeah. Coach loves it. Yeah. You see all the people in the crowd. They're all filming, getting it on social media, whatnot.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. They know all about you and what you're doing out there. And let's talk about this team. 5-2 now, coming off the break and taking care of a Tempe Prep team in 3 sets. Your thoughts on the victory?
We mixed up the personnel. We kind of knew how the game was going to go, so we got a lot of people in there. Had some fun.
Yeah, and a couple more matches later this week. And, of course, with this team, look, big-time expectations. You have a lot of skill. And talk about this team, trying to pick up the intensity and focus because, as you know, you're an athlete, great competitor. As the opponents get bigger and better, that focus and that intensity, it's got to tighten up in this team.
Yeah, for sure.
And your thoughts on what you guys are going to have to do down this stretch run?
I think we just got to get better. We got to start playing better. When we face better teams, we're going to have to actually focus up and make way less mistakes than we've been making.
So I question for you, because you on the football field are dynamic when the football's in your hands. Open field, you're a great runner. What would you rather do? Be in the open field, making people miss, or be spiking from the outside?
Ooh, definitely the football field.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gotta be.
All right. So that is Patrick Mendoza. He's bringing the energy, he's bringing the spikes, and he's bringing the pad slapping after every spike. And here on out, we are going to have the Patrick Mendoza cam on that bench every single match. Patrick, appreciate your time, brother.
All right, thank you.
That's Patrick Mendoza. Keep it right here. We're going to listen to John Engelbert coming right up in just a second. And welcome back to John J. McMahon Gym. Here we're Sentinels coach John Engelbert after the 3-set victory over Tempe Prep. And coach, this was a good one. You're coming off a spring break. Some guys got some rest, and a lot of new faces got some opportunities in this one.
Yes, and that was the idea. I wanted to start with some new faces and see what they could do. I want to get some guys who have never gotten reps on varsity. I wanted them to give them a chance to see what they can do. And that was kind of the idea to start. And then the big idea of the game was to have our starters finish the game, and that's what they did. They came in that last set because we've been trying to work on them finishing sets, finishing games, and that was the idea here today. So that's why they played that last set. I wanted to get some new guys in the first couple of sets, see what they could do, and then have our starters finish the game. And all three units, all three lineups for every set, they did their job, and they did it well.
Yeah, they did. We saw some new faces like Brady Pritchard, Diego Kubisak, and Kubisak, obviously he shows what he can do. Great leaper, he can hit hard, and it's nice to see that they brought the energy. And look, when they've waited their turn, they came out here with a force, they came out here with a purpose, and there was no letdown whatsoever.
Exactly. I was really impressed with the new guys. For the first time in varsity, they didn't show a ton of nerves. You know, they didn't show a lot of hesitancy. They went out, they had an opportunity, and they went to try to take advantage of it. And I really liked seeing that. They showed me a lot of good things today. And, you know, I'm excited to add them to our team because that just adds to our depth. Not just in the games where we get higher level of competition at practice now. And so I'm excited to see what they can do for us.
And Coach, a busy week. This is one of 3 matches this week, and you're right back at it here on Thursday, and then a road matchup on Friday.
Yes, sir.
Your thoughts on the week?
Yeah, Thursday night will be somewhat similar to tonight. The team will be a little bit better, but the idea for us, the approach for us is still kind of the same. We're working on our game, but also trying out some different lineups, see what we can do. And then Friday will be a tough game. Friday against ACP will be a tough game. They're a good team. Right now, Max Preps has them ranked first in our division, so it'll be a tough game, and it's on the road. You know, Friday night, I'm expecting them to have a good crowd. You know, hopefully we do too, but, you know, it's going to be a tough environment for us against a good team, so we're going to have to find a way to get the job done. I'm excited to see where we get. I'm glad that it's at the last game of the week. We get some kind of momentum. We wake up a little bit coming off the break from spring break, and then we get a couple of good practices, a couple of good games before we go on Friday. So I'm excited to see what we can do on Friday. It'll be a good matchup for us.
And, John, you kind of talk about that matchup, and look, that's going to be like a playoff caliber team that you're going to see somewhere down the road. And
absolutely.
For the team to have an opportunity to compete well in that match, what is the team going to have to do to have a chance on the road in a hostile environment?
I think the biggest thing for us is we're gonna have to block well. We've been struggling in that area of the game up to this point in the season. We're gonna have to block well because they have good hitters, and then on top of that, they have good passers. We're gonna have to be a good, solid, aggressive, and accurate serving team. Try to get them out of system so they don't run their offense all night. But those would be the biggest keys for us: blocking and serving. We've got good hitters. We've got good guys in serve receive. I mean, we have a lot of the areas of the game covered. We've just got to improve on blocking and serving. That we're going to have good nights in those areas if we want to win on Friday.
Yeah, no question. That'll be paramount in that Friday matchup. But let's talk about the energy on the bench because Patrick Mendoza he's turning into one of the big rah-rah guys on that bench. And, of course, we know how athletic and gifted he is, a great football player and skilled volleyball player when he gets his opportunities. But also, after a big spike, he started like something new where every time there was a spike, he is pounding the pads on the chair. And now we've set up the Patrick Mendoza cam, by the way. And, Coach, I just, for you and the energy that brings to the team, how much, that extra boost of energy does that provide?
I love it. I love it. I love, Pat is doing his job on the bench for us. It makes the game so much better for everybody. I don't have to sit there and harp on the bench saying, I need you guys in the game. I need you guys in the game. Pat takes care of that all on his own. But more than that, it gets all the guys from the first guy on the court to the last guy on the bench. They're all tied into the game. And they're all ready to go. Like they want success from everybody, and it's just fun for me to watch because I don't have to kind of draw that out from the guys. It just kind of comes naturally, and it's nice to see. Because of that, we've started to be more of a team now. In practices, you see it in games, and it's fun for me to watch because that's something that every team needs, but not every team gets.
Yeah, no question. Patrick Mendoza and the guys on the bench really bringing that energy, and it's safe to say, Coach, it's contagious, right?
It is.
Everyone's locked in.
Yeah, and especially in a game like tonight, where we're trying to get some momentum, and it's not exactly, volleyball. There's not a ton of rallies. I mean, a lot of times when that happens, the energy can just die. But when you got a bench that's led by Patrick Mendoza and guys that are doing that, it's really hard to let the energy die. I mean, it's pretty easy to keep the energy up, and when the energy's up, the guys are playing well. It's easier for us to stay focused on our game and playing well. So it's a big help what Patrick and the other guys on the bench are doing.
Yeah, no question. And, Coach, if we can take one positive, look, you won in 3 sets, but I think it's safe to say, correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, the service game tonight was much improved.
It was, and I'm glad it is because we worked on that a lot over spring break. Over spring break, I had the guys that we started every practice. Everybody got with a partner, got with the ball, and did 50 serves each. We focused on not just the form while we're serving, but the pre-serve routine, making sure we're doing the same thing every time to try to keep it consistent and constant for us, because that has been the biggest reason why we lost both of our games early on. I mean, we had 22 service errors against Deer Valley. We had 16 against Northwest Christian.
Yeah.
I mean, those are a lot of points that we're giving away. And so that was one of the biggest areas of focus in practice this week. So to see it come out and see the guys come out and perform the way they did with serves, that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was definitely a cleaner performance, and of course it led to a 3-set victory. Okay, that's John Engelbert. The Sentinels now 5-2. With more to come this week, we'll wrap it up right here from John J. McMahon Gym in just a moment. So the Sentinels come out of the spring break and get it done impressively, knocking off Tempe Prep in 3 sets. Of course, as we just heard from Coach John Engelbert, working in a slew of new faces like Diego Kubisak as well as Brady Pitchard, a bunch of new guys getting some playing time and really performing well. And of course, the service game was so much better, and that's an area where the Sentinels really have to improve if they're going to make a deep run into the postseason, and they've got the skill. They've got the middles, they got the outside hitters. They just got to be a little bit more fine-tuned at that service line, and they've worked a great deal on that to improve. So the team now 5-2. Of course, a very busy week. On Thursday, they host Phoenix Christian right here, and then they go to Arizona College Prep. Arizona College Prep is ranked in the top 10, as Coach Engelbert just alluded to a short time ago. So we cross our fingers for the boys to see if they can get it done not only on the home court, but away from Seton as well. We appreciate you dialing us up on the Seton Catholic Sports Network. For Paulo Hutchison, Greg Buchanan, Terry Lick, Jen Hutchison, all the great people in the Seton Catholic Athletic Department, including the great families, the friends, all the students that dial us up, and of course, watch and appreciate all these great athletes. I am Joe Pequeno, and I'm humbled and honored, as always, to call Seton Catholic Athletics. We wish you a great night. Take care. We'll see you very soon right here from John J. McMahon Gym, and, of course, on the baseball field and softball field right here from Seton Catholic. Take care and have a good night.